I don't believe that children should be exposed in any way, shape, or form to any content, any language, or anything that has anything to do with sex. Period. I am a father first. I protect my children, and that's what that picture represented for me.
This question of free speech is at the heart of the ongoing battle, as governments and progressive organizations around the world increasingly seek to dictate what is acceptable to say. It centers on the balance between protecting lawful but uncomfortable speech and who will decide what speech should be regulated and which should not. While speech inciting violence is usually where the line is drawn, dissenting or minority opinions, even if unpopular, must remain protected. Today's story involves just that, where Marc Papineau, a real estate agent with 14 years of experience, expressed his frustration with LGBTQ+ issues on social media in 2023. His comments, though lawful, sparked backlash and led to complaints to his professional regulator, the Ottawa Real Estate Board. Despite removing the post, Marc was summoned to a disciplinary hearing, while a public organization, the Real Estate Council of Ottawa, found no grounds for action as he was speaking in his personal capacity. The private board, OREB, found him guilty of unprofessional conduct and fined him $4,000 along with a mandatory ethics course that cost another $1,000. Papineau was facing bankruptcy at the time, so while he was able to negotiate the fine down to $100, he was ultimately terminated from OREB. His case highlights concerns about the power of private organizations to punish lawful speech and the broader implications for free expression in society. Let's chat about it.
So with respect to the complaints, what happened is, based on the post, several complaints were launched. The Real Estate Association is a federally regulated industry. It's regulated through CREA, which then passes off the regulatory bodies to the province. So I'm under the Real Estate Council of Ontario. That council is the proper body to ascertain wrongdoing. So they have a panel of lawyers that are qualified in this field that evaluate and make decisions based on what they find, and they then conduct a stress test to ensure that they do not infringe on our charter rights. And as such, they deemed that, having received the complaints and evaluated carefully with their team of lawyers, that there was no wrongdoing because the post was made on my personal Instagram page, and truthfully, there was nothing wrong that was said either. So they said, you know what? We're not going to take this any further, and then they walked away from it. The Ottawa Real Estate Board is a private member board that facilitates service to realtors, which is to provide MLS access. It's a small board, but what happens is they have made it their mandate to regulate speech for their realtors by embedding bylaws within their membership that give them the ability to dictate speech in and outside of their professional capacities. So the question becomes, because I'm a private member board, they reserve the right to say, well, you can participate in this membership or not participate in this membership. The Charter of Rights, in a sense, does not apply in that context. However, if I require membership access in order to adequately provide service to my clients, then they're infringing my ability to earn a living. Going back to the decision they made being an infringement of my rights. So that's essentially what they did. Now, the irony is how the complaint was made. It was made by people I've never met in my life. There was a crusade that was launched against me by one of my competitors in the real estate field who took offense to the post, who was part of the community that was mentioned. He decided that him and a small group of people were going to, A, harass me, incessantly. And I mean, I received death threats. I received calls to my email, my professionals, my friends. People showed up at my friends' workplaces and demanded that they be terminated for liking my post. I mean, I had phone calls from ladies that are friends of mine that were crying because of the amount of harassing that was taking place. People at my local brokerage at the time also in tears because of the incessant harassment. I mean, you want to talk about hate speech? I've never seen more hatred in my life than during that time. And it went on for months. They had a Reddit page and they would give themselves a score of how bad they did things, and they would pump each other up like they wanted to make my life a living hell. And they succeeded in many ways. The consequences of said is I've been disbanded from the board, which means that in order for me to post listings or to access listings, I must be part of the board, which I cannot be part of. So I can maintain my license as I am with the Real Estate Council of Ontario in good standing. However, I do not have the capacity to post or to access listings on MLS. It's like having a runner to run a marathon without any legs. And this is exactly why I'm fighting. Relicensed or not, it doesn't matter. I need to be put back in good standing with the Ottawa Real Estate Board, not because I need to be a realtor again in this city, but because we have to make a statement as Canadians that we will not allow private memberships to become a way to circumvent our charter rights by saying, hey, if you want to earn a living, you got to be part of this board. And then if you're part of this board, you got to do exactly what we tell you to do. You got to say exactly what we like you to say, and that's it.
Kind of make you the perfect prey of activists.
Yes. So put it this way. If I disagree with something that is happening in my child's school that implicates something that is close to me as my children, and if I want a voice on a public platform, which is provided to me for this reason, I can be removed within my capacity as a realtor and disbarred from earning a living because somebody at the Ottawa Real Estate Board does not agree with what I say. And that is disgusting, and that is not why our veterans shed their blood on soil, protecting our right to speak up. It's just wrong. And the people that are speaking against me are on the other side. But I would say to them, if they're listening to this interview, right now, you think that you have the power because you've given yourself the power through an organization. But one day, that power will change hands, and it may change hands in the hands of somebody who is a tyrant, who doesn't like you either. And then you will lose your voice. And I will be the first to stand up and fight to defend you. Because I disagree with this, not because it affects me, because it affects all of us.
Do you regret using such language, especially as it might alienate LGBT individuals who share your belief that sexualization of children is wrong?
I used language that I would have chosen differently after the fact in hindsight. Doesn't change the fact that I'm not free in a society to use language, free of persecution. You don't have to like what I said, but it doesn't mean that I get to stop earning a living because you don't like how I said it. I still stand by what I said. That doesn't change. And I said that in the hearing as well. I was quite frustrated with I could say, society a little bit. And you see that come out in my tone.
What was the main message that you tried to convey with the image and your post that you made?
The purpose of that picture, which by the way, that picture has circulated all over the internet. It's not like I made it and shared it. So I took that picture, which in my perspective, it shows a father who is protecting his children against a narrative of which he disagrees with. And I don't believe that children should be exposed in any way, shape, or form to any content, any language, or anything that has anything to do with sex. Period. I am a father first. I protect my children, and that's what that picture represented for me.
Don't forget to go over stopclassroomgrooming.com. It's still the time to sign our petition to stop the indoctrination of children in the school system. So go over stopclassroomgrooming.com and put pressure on the government to make a change to stop the phenomenon.